Hello everyone, this is HTTheUsky here, and I am back with some awesome StarCraft 2 action. And why am I saying awesome? Well, of course, StarCraft 2 is awesome, but also the most important thing is that we are going to be having a game between two awesome players. In the bottom left side, it is going to be none other than Slayer's Boxer. I will talk about him in just a second. And in the top right side, it is Leenock. And yes, I know his name is Timber, but he did travel from Korea to play at MLG, so he is using a different account for that reason. But yeah, his name is Leenock. He is very, very young, but very successful in StarCraft 2 already. He's one of those awesome stories where he started StarCraft young, he's got success in StarCraft 2 already, which means that we are most likely going to be seeing a lot of him in the future. Has had a ton of success in the GSL, making it to the finals of one of the GSLs recently. So pretty crazy stuff from that kid recently. But Slayer's Boxer, the complete opposite. I think he is more than twice the age of Leenock. He's been around forever. So if you are a person who has started watching StarCraft 2 recently, or if you're a person who doesn't know anything about Boxer, just know that he's one of those players that everyone loves. I wish I knew someone from a different sport who I could compare him to, but he's the guy who's been around forever. Everyone loves him. And really, there's no Boxer haters, because he's one of the players attributed to helping esports become so popular, not only in Korea, but also everywhere else around the world as well. And this is why, as he does crazy shenanigans like two barracks in the center of the map to try and pressure this third, fourth, and fifth, not, just kidding, it's his first base, it's his natural. So he's got to try and pressure this with a bunch of Marines, and Boxer known for a very crazy play style, where he is very well known for his plays, especially against Zerg in the Brood War days, but he's still, as you can see, doing some crazy stuff here on Zerg in StarCraft 2. And this is going to be really tough for Leenock to deal with. He just now started his spawning pool, so he got Gas Hatch, 3 drones in there, and then started his spawning pool. There goes the bunker right now. Is it spotted? No, it is not, because a hatchery does not have eyeballs just yet. He can't see exactly what's going on there. So this rush playing out very well for Boxer so far, and this is from MLG Providence. It is from the round of 4 losers bracket, so one of these players has got to go home after this game, and this bunker is going to get completed. Does the other bunker get spotted? Yes, it does. Right when the hatchery finishes, Leenock's going to go retro, and this one Marine guy try and do as much damage as he can. Needs to focus on the hatchery as much as possible. Could potentially wall in his opponent as well if he decides to. That might actually be a brilliant choice by Boxer. Don't know if he's going to do that, though. It may not end up being worth it because he can't spot the high ground as easily. And Boxer, I think he's going to be content trying to kill out this hatchery. This will buy time for Leenock to be able to deal with this. But is he actually going to have enough time? Because a Zerg player stuck on one base is a very unhappy Zerg at that. He can no longer really wall this ramp in very well, because the creep will prevent that from happening. So he's going to have to focus down the hatchery. We do have some Zerglings going to be going for a counterattack here. The barracks are going to be lifted off and try and complete the wall in. Not sure if these Zerglings are going to make it in time. This is a mad dash to try and get down there. He did back up a little bit, so that will buy Boxer, I believe, just enough time to land. And he doesn't get landed. 3 Zerglings do make it inside the main. So now Boxer is going to have to deal with that. But in the meantime, the hatchery has fallen. Broodlings are just going to run down there. Benny Hill theme style is what I always think about when I see Broodlings running around and attacking. They just look ridiculous. The SCVs have to be pulled off the line in order to deal with this, but now we have a Zerg player who is stuck on one base, but having those Zerglings in here is buying him some time. But with the Marine out, he can easily protect the SCVs from just 3 Zerglings, because the SCVs can be pulled off. Now just down to 2 Zerglings. Zergling speed is done, but unfortunately I think Boxer is going to be able to deal with this. He also has his expansion on the way, so already in phenomenal shape here. Is Boxer going to keep this contained up, or is he going to salvage this and head on home? Surprisingly, Leenock has made a lot of Zerglings and is morphing them into Banelings immediately. He is going to go directly for the bust, and he's also clicked on that barracks. Is he actually going to be able to kill off that barracks? Boxer is supply blocked right now, so all these units are just running, streaming past right here. So this is a beautiful play from Leenock. He realizes, okay, I took a lot of damage, so I need to try and win with a powerful punch. Here it comes right now. Is he going to be able to kill the barracks? Oh, he didn't have enough to kill the barracks, but the splash damage did kill off the supply depots. So now these Zerglings are inside the base. The Banelings do need to be focused down. There goes one, and the second one as well. But it did allow the Zerglings to get the surround, so SCVs are forced to be pulled off here. But a surprisingly efficient cleanup here. Cleanup crew on Isle Slayer's Boxer's base, as he was able to janitorialize those units out of here. I don't know if janitorialize something is a word, but that just means you cleaned it up with great efficiency. And now Leenock really did no damage there. I mean, look, 1,600 resources to 450. So Boxer is going to be in good shape, but this is a lot of lings coming out here. The SCVs are set to auto-repair, but that will tell them to be killed off by the Zerglings. This is kind of how the AI works. Look at this, unloading the Marines to try and use them between the bunkers. Trying to be fancy here in typical Boxer fashion. Was able to do quite a bit of damage with those bunkers before they get taken out. Of course, he killed the Expo, but also killed off a lot of lings. Those lings barely able to clean that up there, so Leenock can finally get his own expansion going at the 8.5 minute mark. Very rarely will you see that in any game. So Boxer definitely got to be in the lead here, but I feel like leaving all those Marines there to be picked off, those 3 bunkers as well, he would have been in much better shape if he finally backed out, salvaged those, and just kind of recovered from there, which there wouldn't even be that much of a healing process. It would have been like a paper cut compared to now it's more of like 3 paper cuts. And they're in very painful places now. It's not just a paper cut, you know, on the backside of your hand. It's more of a paper cut like on your jugular vein, where you still have a chance of bleeding out. But if you focus, take yourself to a hospital, you're going to be okay. We do have 3 bunkers completed now. Pretty standard stuff there. Got to be adding on a factory. And we'll see what he decides to follow this up with. It could be Blue Flame drops. He decides to move out with these Marines. I don't know if this is a smart choice. He's trying to take Leenock by surprise here. Needs to back up. And we do have no Zerglings on the way. Needs to micro the Marines. Oh, no, he's not. The drones getting focused down there by the Marines. And this is probably going to actually help Leenock here. I don't know what that was. He didn't micro those at all. He could have easily backed into a corner here to have a very strong defensive position. And the units tab shows 21 drones, or 21 drones, yeah, to 30 SCVs here. So still in the lead for Boxer, as he does have his expansion up and running, but I feel like he's made some minor mistakes to allow his opponent to catch back up. 2 free Zergling kills. He'll take what he can get. And now his expansion is up and running, fully saturated, while this base is only 4 drones deep, which is not good enough. And we do see the Zerglings got to run through here. They're not going to be able to do a whole lot of damage unless Boxer doesn't do anything about them, but of course he does. And 2 Zerglings killing off just 1 SV, a minor loss there. But the pacing of this game is very peculiar, but not so much for Slayer's Boxer. This is kind of what he's known for. Doing a lot of crazy games like this is something that he'll always be able to stay focused. He never really crumbles under pressure, just because he's been under so much pressure before. But his play skill and technique may not be the best in the world, just because, I don't know, it's hard to always be the best. When you've been playing the same game for 12 plus years, there are definitely going to be times where you are not the best player. Although Boxer, he's the best player. Let's be completely honest. He is Slayer's Boxer, man, so he can do whatever he wants, and he will forever be awesome in our hearts. 7 drones being produced at a time. The Zerglings managing to hold off any sort of push from Slayer's Boxer. And Boxer is going for siege tanks here. And this is going to buy a lot of time for Leenock to go ahead and get back on his feet, as we do have no stim pack completed. It has just begun being researched here. Does have that combat shields upgrade. No +1 attack is in sight, but we do have a 3rd base on the way for Boxer. Looking over here at Camp Leenock, he's finally getting his macro back on track. Cannot be feeling good about the pace of this game, though. I mean, we are down by about 20 supply. That does not feel good as Zerg. Usually you want to be ahead in supply. Throwing down a macro hatcher, he's just going to be powering drones, I think, just to try and get that drone count up. But for now, he is going to get a couple Zerglings, potentially 4 Banelings for defense, and a couple more drones on the way. He is going to have to try and figure out how to secure that 3rd base. Potentially getting a high yield as well would be really what he needs to do here. But Boxer playing the safe defensive style that I think is a good idea for him. The one concern I do have is that these supply depots are going to be vulnerable to Baneling hits. I think you can kill 3 or 4 at a time. And since he did go for siege tanks, which are good, don't get me wrong, but if the positioning is not the best, then they can get overwhelmed by Zerglings. And I think it would be wise for Leenock to go for a standard Zergling Baneling composition for as long as he can, and then start getting the Mutalisks once his macro warrants it. I think that's going to be his best bet here. Don't know if we're going to be seeing Infestors just because the tanks outrange them so much. Plus, the tanks do additional damage to armored units. Infestors are armored, and they also have the amazing range, so the Infestors melt away quite quickly. Boxer is going to be moving out here. His army supply vastly superior, 54 to 32. He needs to watch out for the Banelings, but his positioning is not good. As I was talking about, the Banelings rolling in, the tank's not doing all that much, and there's a huge hit. And wow, this is why you do not go Marine Siege Tank and move out at that timing. So Boxer, I would say the score is pretty even now. The tech's still behind where Leenock would like, but he just crushed that army perfectly with a huge Baneling hit right there. Boxer just has got to be feeling not comfortable at all. The third base is going to be on the way, though, but guess what? Leenock is slowly catching up in his expansion count. He is going to be even on bases and could potentially be ahead here. I think that he could easily get that fourth base before Boxer is able to. Zergling's running down here, but a huge shot from the Siege Tank, getting 2 kills there. The Marines, though, killing off a lot as well, which Leenock, he needs to poke there, trying to basically take out that expansion, but getting shot like that is no fun for Leenock, and he is going to go for a fourth base, not opting to go for the high yield, is instead expanding closer to Boxer. I think that this is going to get locked down with a quick drop. Don't know if Leenock will be able to hold that off or not. He does have a lot of Zerglings and map control, and is also distracting him with a drop in the center of the map, but Leenock, I don't know if he's going to bite. Does look like Boxer, yeah, realizing there's an expansion there. Even I'm surprised to see a fourth base there. Boxer has got to be just as surprised. Probably going to stem these Marines, run them down, and indeed he does. Should be able to force the cancel on that one, as we do have a drop moving out now as well. Does Leenock cancel this? Yes, he does. Saves the hatch, or at least the money invested in the hatch, but not the drone. And yeah, Boxer moving up here says, okay, that was a weird place for a fourth, but I will take that easy victory. Still ahead in the units lost tab, but not as much as we saw. Definitely not as big of a ratio percentage ahead that we saw earlier in the game. So Boxer has got to play very defensive here, but continue doing drops. I don't think that he should move out with his army soon, but force Leenock to make more defensive units than he would like. We do have 2 Thors on the way now for Boxer, and not the best macro here from Leenock. He is actually supply blocks. You can see he invested in 4 Overlords right there, which will help drop out some of those additional minerals. These mutas are going to find this medevac and a couple of Marines there. And if you're wondering why Leenock backed out there, it's because, yes, he would have killed that, but he would have lost 2, 3, maybe even 4 mutas, and it becomes instantly not worth it. So he's going to bring in the much more cost-effective Zerglings to clean this out. So good game sense here and good map vision. And also map control. Doesn't lose a single muta there. This muta does get down to, I think, 1 HP. Might have been 2 HP, but it's slowly going to be regenerating there. That gets cleaned out. So Leenock, you got to watch out for this kid. He's slowly getting back in this. Slayer's Boxer now even in the resources lost. He's even on bases. So I would say that it's still favoring Boxer. But if he has one more unfavorable engagement, it is going to favor Leenock here. Mixing in the Thor is a great choice. He has the +1 attack on those, not only for the mutas to take a lot of damage from the splash, but also for the siege tanks to do splash to the Zerglings. But the positioning has to be perfect. The Marines are placed pretty well here, and it's still not able to kill off any mutas. So we did get 1 muta, so not a complete waste right there. But if we do look at that units lost tab, it's slowly creeping on up. Only 100 or 200 resources separate them now, and that does mean that Boxer got to be careful. I think he needs a lot more Marines here. He's producing them 8 at a time. His upgrades are at 2 attack, 1 armor. The 2 attack is on the way as well, but he's going to be going up against an equally upgraded Zerg army with the +1 armor on the mutas rather than the +1 attack. But good defensive position here for Boxer, but he's completely out of position to defend this. He's deciding to sack this. I don't know if this is the best choice. He's feeling like he can win right now, but I don't know that he needs to lose this expo in order to do it. But he is going to have time to set up his siege tanks. Needs to slowly leapfrog them up here. Sieging 3 at a time. Going to move these other ones up here. Leapfrogging is when you just siege 1 or 2 at a time rather than all of them to try and get a good defensive position. But he's got to lose the orbital as well. Wasn't even able to dump that energy. This does look like he will lock down the 3rd base of the Zerg player. And he is very well spread out here. If you're wondering why he's not just marching in here, it's because you have to stay spread out versus the Zerglings and the mutas. The mutas trying to snipe some tanks, but the Thor is here in order to defend it. taking a little bit of splash damage there. These mutas are vulnerable to those Thors. That base has been cleared out, so now it is 2 base versus 2 base. The expansion over here gets killed off as well. This expansion, though, if this gets up and running, that will start to favor Leenock. Boxer needs to be very careful here. Wouldn't even be surprised to see him start setting up sensor towers, bunkers, missile turrets. He is definitely known for that, trying to split up his forces as much as he possibly can. The problem, though, is that this Mutaball is so large that if any units are straying, like that one siege tank right there, they can get nearly one-shot, and so Boxer has got to have perfect position. He also, though, needs to re-secure this 3rd base. I do love this from Leenock, going to be creeping right there. Oh, Baneling landmine right here, I just realized. So Boxer's got to be careful about that. I did not actually realize that that was there until just now, so a dangerous position there. Are they going to blow up on the Marines? Oh, misses. Oh, he does get him off. And at least he was able to do something with those Banelings. Boxer's like, whoa, there was Banelings right there. I got to be careful. Definitely have to watch out for that. Kind of an eye-opener for him. But still, 197 supply to 170. How many SCVs does Boxer have, though? Only 62. So his army is pretty terrifying. I mean, 74 Marines, 2 Thors, 13 tanks. That is about as good as it gets when you're going Marine tank, especially with that +2 attack. 3-3 is on the way for his Marines, and that is going to be very powerful. But 2-2 is now done for the Zerg, so he's not that far ahead. There's the rest of the army. I was wondering where this was at. Needs to be careful with these Marines. He has stemmed. That was a near full stem on almost all his units. Has split them up now. And Boxer may be spreading himself too thin if he is not careful. But he's kind of putting the chokehold on, doing the little Darth Vader force choke. But I don't know if Leenock even needs air, because he is Zerg, man. They can float through space. So I don't know if force choking them is really going to be what it takes, because he needs to do a powerful punch. He needs to use the lightning fingers of the Emperor, I think, to kind of fitting, I guess, since he is the Emperor. But yeah, needs to find a way to end this. We do have Baneling landmines right there, which I think is so smart by Leenock. Look, he's just got to swoop in here completely undefended. Boxer is going to have to attack. He's got to delay the 3-3 upgrades as well. Boxer is going to have to force him to attack. Wow, losing that is so painful. So painful. That is as painful as it gets. And needs to not kill off this geyser. Instead, he needs to go for the kill, or at least do a 2-pronged attack with his Marines. But he has to use them for defense. Does kill off 1 Muta, but how many Mutas are we actually up to now? 30, 37 Banelings, a lot of Zerglings as well. I think Leenock's army composition is slightly better. The army supply fairly close considering how long this game has been going on. But Thors there kind of just take up a lot of supply. So that's why I would say the armies are relatively close. Could use these Thors, but he doesn't realize that the Mutas are down there. If he did, he could get some nice shots off, but I don't know. This is such a tense moment for Boxer. And here comes a major attack from Leenock. He's going to try and clean this up, and indeed he does overwhelmingly. Cleans that one up. Oh my goodness. That is how you clean up that army, but this is why you have to keep your army completely together as Terran, because if they attack you from 3 different angles like that, you need every unit you can get. Units lost here is now virtually identical, only 67 resources different here, but for the first time in this game, Leenock is ahead in that units lost tab, which means it's favoring him, as he has lost less, and he's also trying to work on getting up that 4th base, but both players do have their 3rd base up and running now. The Muta's continuing to harass here. He needs a way to deal with this Mutaflock, but it is out of control. 36 Mutalisks. He has got to get Thors out, and he has 2 on the way, but really does not have them just yet. Nearly 2-shotting these production facilities, which that's when you know your opponent has a lot of Mutas. 5 more Mutalisks are on the way. I think he really needs to work on upgrades. Honestly, getting a double Spire might not even be that big of a deal. There's a rave going on up there. That's a top-story party house going on up there in that Spire, showing that the upgrades are on the way. Does take some damage there, but really, I don't know. Boxer has got to do something, because that is so many Mutas. That is a disgusting amount of Mutalisks. Not that I would eat any Mutalisks, but if I had to eat this many, that would be absolutely disgusting. And once he gets the Thors out, if he can get some nice shots off, those Mutas will melt away. Nice sensor tower there. Wouldn't be surprised to see one going down in the main base. He did throw a lot of missile turrets, which there are enough Mutas to kill those off, but if the Thors get the shots while they're clumped up, that will be GG. But so far we've seen crazy control from Leenock. I mean, think about how this game started. And you just kind of scratch your head on how Leenock has managed to do so much damage to Boxer, sniping a tank here or there. Could get the command center, and he does! Forces the cancel. 100 free resources right there, and he is up to 4 bases now. Leenock has such crazy map control that the only way for Boxer to win is to push out with everything he's got. But when you're trying to micro versus Zerglings, Banelings, Mutalisks, there's really only so many places that the Marines can run before they end up dying. And the infestation pit there. Is it going to be for infestors, or is it going to be for the hive tech? I would speculate hive tech, simply because Leenock has kind of shown he isn't really worried about getting out the infestors. But 1 or 2 fungals on this army, and I mean that's no more army. So it does look like Leenock may force a base race, which is exactly what you should do in this situation. Got to focus down the sleeping tower as well, so Boxer going to be blind to the incoming attacks. Needs to repair that planetary. Every shot it gets off will do lots of kills. 21 kills. Kills off a lot of Banelings as well, but that is shortly before falling. All these SCVs get killed off as well. 50 supply has plummeted from Slayer's. Boxer no longer near maxed out. He's going to try and drop in the main base, but there is enough mutas to deal with that if he decides to back off. That is probably the most mutas I've seen at one time. 68 Zerglings on the way. Look at the DPS of these mutas. They don't even have any attack upgrades. And it decides it is not worth it, is going to back out. You got to remember, he is no longer maxed, so he can't afford to lose too many more units. He's just going to drop directly into the main. Slayer's. Boxer, you monster. He needs to start attacking, though, to kill off those production facilities. Needs to kill the Baneling Nest. Needs to kill the Spire. Needs to kill the Spawning Pool if he has any chance of winning. Needs to go for the tech structures first. Don't worry about the Spire, or don't worry about the lair, but he is going to go for that. And I think that... Oh, we do have infestors on the way. And the Baneling Nest does go down, so if Boxer can do damage to this army, then this will buy him time, because you gotta remember, Boxer's still producing while the Zerg player is not, although Boxer is not mining. Oh, you animal, you Leenock. Actually trying to take that 3rd base there. Oh my god, that is so many units killing everything off. Slayer's. Boxer no longer has an army. He did manage to kill off all the Banelings at least, but he's only got a handful of Marines. It is 60 supply to 114. Boxer needs to kill off everything he can. These drones, the infestation pit, but he decides to go for Overlords. But he's going to have to kill off a lot of Overlords. We'll get some transferring drones as well. Leenock not really mining except for this 1 base, but that's a lot more than Boxer can say. He's got to try and kill the infestation pit, but he does get it, losing all the Marines in the process. Medivacs as well. And I'm going to be honest, this is looking really bad for Boxer. The game was looking good, but now he is just scraping together everything he can. One thing I love about Boxer is he really never gives up until it's completely over. But taking a fungal like that could make it completely over. Blah! Goes the Marines. Splatting from that fungal growth. I think that is going to be it for Boxer. Chaining those fungals means that these Marines, he's trying to split them up as best he can, but there's only so many places you can run from that many Mutalist. The Mutalist flock has been substantially reduced. 21 mutas, which honestly, 1 Thor can kill 21 mutas if they clump up, but I don't think Leenock's going to make that kind of mistake. And did the spawning pool ever get taken out, or did he remake it? It's definitely not in the main base. He does have it at his 3rd base now, and there's going to be the GG as soon as he realizes that 3rd base can no longer stand. Would have liked to see the Thor attempt to kill these off, but Leenock had him selected, so he probably would have magic boxed and been just fine. So, game 1 going to be going to Leenock, who is such a strong player. I think he deserves a lot more fans than he has. Such an awesome character, and very, very young. So we will see if he has a long, fruitful career, but we're going to find out in game number 2 if he can knock Slayer's Boxer out of MLG Providence. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.